Hello, it's Red here, and today I want to talk to you about the personal missions for the light tanks for the Object 260. If you are still struggling with T28 HTC personal missions or T55A or even Stuk 4, you are still welcome because I'm going to give you a few advices which will also work for those missions as well. So I decided to give you a list of the missions which you can find in the game, of course. Then I will give you a list of the light tanks which I would prefer for these missions. I'm not saying that other light tanks would not work, but if I were to choose, I would go for these light tanks. And then I will give you an advice and explain to you if the mission is simple or difficult or medium, or even have a pair of retarded missions. So, LT1, win the battle and finish the battle as the top player on your team by experience earned. It's a simple mission, because all you need is to deal some damage. So if you have tier 8 light tank, then you need to deal like 1.5, maybe 2000 damage and spot for 2000 or so. Or you can simply deal 3000 damage on some RU251 and then you'll pretty much get it in 100% of cases. So I think that this mission is rather simple. The next mission, the LT2, personally spot at least 8 enemy vehicles and survive the battle. I think this mission is difficult because surviving the battle is really hard in these circumstances, because you will probably have to give the initial spot, which should be active, and then you need to change the flank probably and then spot someone else there, and you will probably need to spot the tank destroyers, so be ready that some Grille 15 may shoot you and you will lose 800 points in a shot. So it's really hard to survive the battle, not really spotting 8 enemy vehicles, because you will have to risk a lot. So if I could choose the light tanks for this mission, I would go for RU251 again, T54 lightweight, maybe T49, I'm not sure about that, and Bulldog and T37. The main criteria for the tank is to be quick and mobile. But T49 and Bulldog, well, and T37, they are rather large in size, so the chance that some Grille hits you is rather big there, yeah. So I would stick to RU251 and T54 lightweight, not the WZ132, because it's a bit too slow for that. So the LT3 cause damage to enemy vehicles at least 6 times by shooting them, and spot at least 7 vehicles. You can die here, so that's definitely a good thing. You can risk and you don't need to stay alive. But still, this is, in my opinion, it's a medium difficulty task, because spotting 7 vehicles is not easy as it is, but you also need to damage enemies 6 times. A little life hack there, you could use high explosives to, not to think about penetrations, because if you damage your enemy by even 1 hit point, it's already enough. So probably the RU251 as well, T37 and 5916, because they fire quickly. So you spot enemies, you give initial spot, and then you can start just unloading at the first enemy that you encounter, just bam, 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 and the vehicles like T37, 5916, probably and T25 as well. Yeah, it would work. I should have added MT25 here as well. But MT25 has a bit worse view range, so initial spot would be a bit more difficult. So I would still stick to these vehicles. The LT4, destroy the tracks of at least 3 enemy vehicles. Allies must cause at least 500 hit points of damage to the immobilized enemy vehicles before their tracks are repaired. This is a simple mission. I would go for tier 49 for this mission, because it tracks just with every shot if you fire into the lower part of the profile of the enemy. So it won't be too much of a problem. You can even try brawling with heavy tanks, just coming together with heavy tanks where heavy tanks brawl and shooting their tracks, so that won't be much of a problem. With RU-251 you can also load high explosives for that. And M41 Bulldog, I thought it was a good choice because it has an autoloader, which means that you can shoot enemy's track as many times as you need to detrack him, and B, it has rather good stabilization. So that's why I didn't go for T71, because it has a little worse stabilization and actually smaller autoloader. Maybe some 5916 would work as well, but with higher tier light tanks, no, I can't really highlight it some way. So the higher tier light tanks would be more preferable here. The LT5, spot enemy vehicles and enable your allies to destroy at least 3 vehicles spotted by you, survive the battle. Now, the point is that you must not share any spotting with anyone else. This is the hard part about it. But still, it's rather simple because it's only 3 vehicles, so you just take some nice bush on some map. Preferably you should be like the first one standing, nobody to be closer to the enemies than you, and you will simply complete it. So I think that any tier 7 or 8 light tank can do that. And especially you can also do that at the end of the battle when there is only artillery left or just a few tanks on the enemy side. Then you can simply run at them and spot them, and your allies will kill them. LT6, enable your allies to cause damage to at least 8 enemy vehicles by spotting them or destroying their tracks. This is a medium difficulty mission because it's not so easy to help to destroy 8, to help to damage 8 enemy vehicles. So 8 is quite a lot. You'll have to be quite active on the battlefield, so you'll probably need to wait for the open map. And I would go for RU-251 for its mobility and for the view range, and MX-1390, well, also for the view range, but also because it has a really nice camo. So you can get closer to your enemies and thus get maybe a bit more spot damage than you would get on RU-251, and nobody will really intercept your spotting if you play MX-1390. Next, the LT7. Spot at least 3 enemy SPGs and cause damage or critical hits to them. I think currently I think I copied the wrong one, because you need to spot 3 SPGs and then cause damage or critical hits and kill 1 SPG a tier higher. Maybe I just didn't copy the second part of the mission. So it's not full, you also need to kill 1 SPG. This is an absolutely retarded mission. I would go for it with M41 Bulldog, 5916 or MT25, and you better play in a platoon with the other 2 artilleries. Just an advice there, don't rush to the enemy artilleries in the beginning of the battle. Wait for the enemy team to be completely spotted. You must know where everyone is, because you don't really want to come to the enemy artilleries and then meet there some Grillia or Object 140 or anyone who will kill you. And also be very careful with artilleries, because I died a few times from artilleries while doing this. And I would really prefer the Bulldog for that, because you have a really nice autoloader, which means that you can just get to the SPG party, you damage the first one, you damage the second one, and then you simply take out the third one. And move, never stand in front of 3 artilleries. They will kill you, because that happened to me, and this is just a crazy thing. So this is a really retarded mission where you are pretty much testing your luck. So it doesn't really depend so much on skill, but be careful and look at the minimap and be sure that nobody is guarding the artillery. And yeah, play in a platoon for this mission, because otherwise you'll be completing it for forever. The LT8. Participate in a successful capture of a base while earning at least 60 base capture points, or reset enemy capture points of your or neutral base while earning at least 60 base defense points and win the battle. It's also a retarded mission, and by the word retarded I really mean that when you play a light tank, when you're completing retarded mission, you're not doing what the light tank is actually supposed to do. So here you're also waiting just for an opportunity to capture the base, or better reset the cap, because it's simpler, because you just need one shot to, or maybe 2 shots to get these 60 base defense points. So for that purpose, any tier 6 or 8, 2 to 8 light tank will work. You should also play in platoon with that, so that your friends will help you with base, with capturing base, or with resetting the cap of enemy's cap of our base. Sorry. So the LT9, spot at least 7 enemy vehicles before any enemy vehicle spots you. It's a medium difficulty task, because all you need is really an open map, and then you just take some really nice bush there. You should know some bushes on some maps. And then you have quite a good chance that you will spot 7 vehicles, because usually you spot there like 5 or 6, but 7 is also quite probable. So I would go for RU251 for that, because it's really quick, so you can be first to take the bush, or AMX1390 because of its camo. And it's not the fastest, but it's mobile enough to take some nice bush, also taking into account our camo. The LT10, finish the battle as the top player of both teams by experience earned and survive the battle. This is the mission which is very similar to the first mission. So if you win the battle, and here it's a part of the... No, it's not a part of the mission here, but if you win the battle and you are in top by experience points in your team, you are in top within both teams as well, because the winning team gets more experience points. So this mission is actually quite the same as that mission, but you need to survive. That's the only part which makes it a bit more tricky, but still it's rather simple. I would go for RU251 because it's just a perfect damage dealer, so you can easily earn experience points with that, and AMX1390 as well. And you probably need to fire some gold rounds, but yeah, you have to fire some gold rounds sometimes on light tanks anyway. LT11, cause damage at least 12 times to enemy vehicles that are of the same tier as your vehicle or higher. It's a very simple mission. I would even write very simple, because you either take some really quick firing light tank like T-37, 5916, I completed it on 5916, MT-25, or you can take some RU-251, which has really great DPM, which fires also quite quickly, comparing especially to the other tier 8 light tanks. And you can fire some high explosives, or you can fire some high explosives of 5916 as well, because then you will be just damaging your enemy every time you shoot, even though that will be just like 5 points or 15 points of damage, but still it is counted, and it is a bit stupid. The LT12, spot enemy vehicles and enable your allies to cause at least 3000 damage to vehicles spotted by you. Remain unspotted at... yeah, I was quite inaccurate while making this table. So you must be unspotted while the enemies are damaged. I think that any tier 7 or 8 light tank will work, because you either keep distance from your enemies while spotting them, something like 400 meters, because at this distance your enemy cannot spot you, but you will be spotting him if it's some medium tank, or especially if it's a heavy tank. Or you just play from bushes and assist 3000 damage from bushes. It's not much, so I would write here simple. So yeah, another mistake in my table, but still it's rather simple. Then we're coming to the platoon missions. The LT13, spot enemy vehicles and enable your allies to cause at least 3000 damage to enemy vehicles. Spotting damage caused by platoon mates counts towards this total. Cause at least 2500 damage to enemy vehicles. Damage caused by platoon mates counts towards this total. Can be completed either on your own, blah 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 blah. So here we need to spot for 3000 damage, and we need to cause 2500 damage. That's simple. You take pretty much any tier 8 you take pretty much any tier 8 platoon, any tier 8 light tank. You take some Grilly 15 in a platoon, and that's simple. You just need to spot for 3000 and Grilly will do all the damage, because 2500 for Grilly is just nothing. The Grilly can do that in every battle, even if that is turbo loss. Or you can take 2 light tanks in a platoon, like to make it completely sure that you spot 3000 damage, especially if you are not too good with light tanks, but still you somehow made it this far. Or you decided to make it first, like before the previous missions. And you take some really damaging tank in your platoon. Maybe T110E5, the American heavy tank. So any tank that can cause, well, at least 2000 damage, because probably you can deal 500 damage on your own, because you don't need to do much for that. Just come out 2 rounds. Anyway, take some tier 10 vehicle in your platoon and you're done. LT14. Spot enemy vehicles and number your allies to cause at least 6000 of damage to enemy vehicles. Spotted damage caused by platoons, blah 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 blah. This is a bit more tricky, so I have here medium difficulty, because it's not always that you can, it's not too often that you can really do 6000 scouting damage. But if you play with the other light tank in a platoon, say 2 RU-251s, or RU-251 and MX-1390 or any other combination, then you can just go to the different flanks and you spot here, your friend spots there, and you're pretty much done. Well, especially open maps are suitable for this mission, but yeah, open maps are suitable for the light tanks as a whole. And then we come to the very last mission, the final mission, the LT15. The total damage caused and the damage caused by your allies upon your spotting or destroy the track of an enemy vehicle must be at least 8000 hit points. And the submission for completing with honors is to survive the battle. I didn't have any submissions and all the second objectives here, because you don't really have to complete them with honors, but you will probably need to complete the LT15 with honors, unless you want to complete also all other 4 lines of the missions for medium tanks, for heavy tanks, for tank destroyers and SPGs. So if you want to complete only 4 lines out of 5, then you will need to do with honors all the 15th missions, including this one. So you need to assist and deal in total 8000 damage. This is a very difficult task. I would try the RU-251 for that, because it can really deal damage. So if you deal like 2000 damage, it will reduce a lot the amount of damage that you need to assist. And all I just can say about it, you should wait for an open map for that. Some Prokhorovka, some Malinovka. I completed it on a swamp, but I was like really lucky. And when I was completing it, I had actually neither of these tanks. I completed it on a Black Bulldog, and I'm just trying to say that you can actually complete these missions on any light tanks. But if I had the RU-251, I would try this one. And maybe also T-54 lightweight, because they are quick, so I can be first to spot everyone. So this is it pretty much. This is the whole analysis of the missions. If you disagree on some mission, or if you have some special comments on the mission, then leave your comments down there. And also check out my Twitch channel. The link will be also in the description of the video. And thank you, and see you around.